The Santiago Bernabéu has always operated under one unbreakable principle. No player is ever bigger than the club. It's a rule Real Madrid treat as sacred, a line no superstar, no matter how talented, is allowed to cross. Florentino Perez and the club's hierarchy have enforced it with absolute authority, without hesitation and without exception. Even the greatest figures of the modern era, from Cristiano Ronaldo, the club's all-time leading scorer, to legendary captain Sergio Ramos, eventually had to leave the moment their personal ambitions clashed with the institution's supremacy. And now, at the center of a new power struggle, stands Vinicius Jr, the Brazilian superstar who, at this historic turning point for the club, is challenging Real Madrid's entire power structure and financial model. Vinicius's rebellion isn't just about money. It's a direct hit at the management and, more specifically, the club's new head coach. According to reliable internal sources, the 24-year-old has delivered a clear ultimatum to Florentino Perez. If Alonso is here, I'm not. Demanding Xabi Alonso's removal as a condition for signing a new contract is a move without precedent, a gesture that screams defiance and a level of self-confidence bordering on arrogance. His current deal runs until June 2027, but in modern football, the last 2 years of a contract are fragile territory. One unhappy superstar can destabilize an entire dressing room. Talks to extend his contract, negotiations that were supposed to be wrapped up months ago to secure the club's long-term plans, have now completely collapsed. Not only because of money, but because of personal conflict that seems almost impossible to resolve. Then comes the financial side, just as explosive. Real Madrid have already offered him a massive new deal, raising his net salary to 20 million euros per year, putting him among Europe's biggest earners. But Vinicius has fired back with a demand that stretches the club's limits to the breaking point, 30 million euros a season. This isn't just about a paycheck, it's a statement, a claim to being the best player in the world. Vinicius wants a historic contract, the kind of deal only someone like Cristiano Ronaldo ever reached at the Bernabeu during his peak. He's asking for a total package that goes beyond Real Madrid's strictly controlled wage structure. A higher base salary, bigger performance bonuses, and a massive renewal bonus. In short, he sees himself as the untouchable king of this team, someone who deserves absolute respect, total authority, and a status no one else can challenge inside the dressing room. The spark that set everything on fire came on the night of El Clásico, October 26th, a match Real Madrid won 2-1 against Barcelona. It should have been a night of celebration. Instead, it turned into a personal battlefield. When the number 7 went up on the board, signaling he would be subbed off in the 72nd minute, Vinicius's reaction was completely unacceptable. Xabi Alonso's decision, a perfectly reasonable tactical move to secure control and protect the lead, was treated by Vinicius as a personal insult, an attack on his status. He shouted in disbelief, stormed off the pitch, walked straight down the tunnel, and threw out a threat no dressing room can tolerate. "It's always me. I'm done here. I should just leave. I'm leaving." Vinicius later met with Florentino Perez to apologize, and he posted a long message on social media expressing regret to fans and teammates. But one name was missing: Xabi Alonso. He ignored him entirely. That intentional omission was a direct challenge, a public undermining of the manager's authority and credibility. This broken relationship didn't fall apart overnight. It was the result of a deeper clash in philosophy and management. Under Carlo Ancelotti, Vinicius lived in a comfort zone. He was allowed to play freely with all the improvisation and Brazilian flair he wanted. Mistakes were forgiven if they came with moments of genius. Ancelotti's father figure style gave Vinicius the space he needed to explode into a superstar. But Alonso comes from a different world, a world built on discipline, structure, collective effort, and strict tactical adherence, the very principles that made him successful as both a player and a coach. He does not tolerate individualism. He does not bend for egos. For him, the system comes first, always. The tension began with Alonso's tactical decisions. Planning to bench Vinicius in the Club World Cup semi-final before Alexander-Arnold's injury forced a last-minute change, or placing him on the right wing, a role Vinicius sees as unnatural, even disrespectful. Then came the rotations, 4 times on the bench in the first 17 matches. To Alonso, it was squad management. To Vinicius, it was humiliation, a deliberate effort to cut him down. But behind the rebellion lies something deeper: insecurity. Kylian Mbappe's arrival changed everything. The French superstar's aura, status, and explosive form brought a new alpha into the room. For the first time, Vinicius was no longer the automatic number 1 at the Bernabeu. The spotlight was shifting, and he felt it. On top of that, missing out on the Ballon d'Or, an award he believed was his, one he even mocked rivals over, left a psychological scar. It fed a victim mentality. And when Real Madrid publicly defended him afterwards, it only reinforced the idea that the world was against him. Then he returned to a dressing room without the emotional comfort of Ancelotti. No fatherly guidance, no gentle protection. Instead, he found Xabi Alonso, cold, demanding, uncompromising. All that frustration, all that pressure, all that bruised pride finally erupted, in the form of open rebellion. Even though Real Madrid have tried to calm the situation, with the club's media department even attempting to deny the meeting between the player and the president to avoid a public storm, Florentino Perez's patience is running thin. International legends and former stars like Steve McManaman and Christophe Dugarry have openly criticized Vinicius's whining and complaining, with Dugarry going as far as telling Perez to kick him out. These are not casual comments. They're warnings about how far a player is allowed to push things at Real Madrid. Meanwhile, Xabi Alonso is quietly strengthening his authority by doing the one thing that settles all debates: winning. Real Madrid sit top of La Liga, proving that Alonso's system works without needing to bend for any individual. He has shown the firmness and the calm of a true leader. I understand a player's frustration, but the team's interests always come first. History at the Bernabeu leaves no room for doubt. Perez would rather sell a superstar than allow the dressing room to descend into chaos or let one player grow beyond the control of the club's hierarchy. That philosophy is a major reason Real Madrid have remained a global powerhouse. And if Vinicius continues to demand 30 million euros a year and near absolute authority, he may soon need to look elsewhere. Saudi Arabia's PIF-owned clubs are watching closely and are ready to throw unbelievable money at him, willing to meet even his wildest demands. But leaving Europe at 25 would mean walking away from the highest level of competition, from legacy-defining football, a decision he could regret for the rest of his career. Real Madrid, meanwhile, are fully prepared for a future that doesn't revolve around Vinicius. With Kylian Mbappe in place, Jude Bellingham growing into a true leader, and young talents like Arda Güler rising fast, the club can continue to thrive. Selling Vinicius for a potential 150 million euros would give the club enormous financial firepower, enough to target a world-class striker like Erling Haaland and complete their new Galactico era. Vinicius must understand one thing: Perez's support for him was built on the idea that he represented the club's future. But the moment he becomes an obstacle to the collective project, a rotten apple in the basket, Perez will not hesitate to remove him. This rebellion is a sign of an ego that has grown out of control. His talent is undeniable, but the attitude he's shown can only lead him down a path of self-destruction. The clock is ticking, and the final decision from Real Madrid, guided by Alonso's discipline and Perez's resolve, may well lead to an ending with no happy chapter for the Brazilian number 7, closing one of the most dramatic storylines the Bernabeu has seen in years.